Hi, hello, good morning. I welcome you for the today's session Realism. In the previous session, we discussed about idealism, scope of idealism, teacher, idealism, scope in education, idealism and methods of teaching we discussed in the previous session. In today's session, we are going to discuss the second Western method of philosophy of education, that is realism. The term realism comes from the Latin realist, who is to be really, real, real. Realism refer to the exist, things exist whether or not the human mind perceives them. Realism. In philosophy, the viewpoint which occurs to the things which are known or perceived an existence or nature which is independent of whether anyone is thinking about the perceiving them. Realists believe that reality exists independent of the human mind. The ultimate reality is the world of physical object. The focus is on the body or object. Truth is objective, what can be observed. Aristotle, a student of Plato, who broke with his mentor's idealist philosophy, is called father of both realism and scientific method. So here the Western method of the realism is introduced by Aristotle, who is the student of the Plato. He also known as referred of the realism and scientific method. According to the realism concept, the word realism comes from the Latin word realist, that means who is real and really real. Realism refers to the things exist whether or not the human mind perceives them. Realism. So here it is refers to things exist whether or not present or not. That means so here it is thinking about, it is analyzing about the things which are present. In philosophy, the viewpoint which occurs to the things which are known as perceived an existence or nature which is independent of whether anyone is thinking about the perceiving them. So here finally we can conclude that realists believe that reality exists independent of the human mind. The ultimate reality is the world of physical object. The focus is on the body or object. Five fundamental principles of realism, that is phenomenal world is true, phenomenal world is true, sense are the doors of the knowledge, senses are the doors of knowledge, opposition of idealism, it is quite opposite to the idealism, man is a part of mental world, material world, man is a part of the material world, emphasis on experiment and observations. So these are the five pillars of the realism. Phenomenal world is true. Senses are the doors of knowledge. Opposition of idealism. Man is a part of material world. Emphasis on experiment and observation. Scope of education. Realism aims of education. Let's see here. Realism and aims of education. Preparing the child for happy and successful life. Preparing a child for happy and successful life. Preparing the child for real life. Developing the physical and mental power of the child. So preparing the child for a real life. Developing the physical and mental powers of the child. Developing and training of senses. Acquainting the child with nature and social environment, impacting vocational education means to get training. Vocational means your word train up. So this is the aims of education. Realism curriculum is what? Developed according to the utility and needs of subjects concerning day-to-day activities. Main subjects are natural sciences, physical sciences, health, culture, physical exercise, math, geography, history, astronomy. So these are the main subjects of curriculum of the realism. Realism teacher. Realism and the teacher, let's see here, brings the child in touch with the external realities of life. External realities of life, imparts scientific knowledge in an easy and effective way. When go to the physics laboratory to do some electronic experiments, the teacher has to be demonstrate experiment, then only the student can able to learn the experiment procedure, otherwise it's not possible. So that is about the realism teacher objective. Guess testing resulting can help prove that the students are learning the material. So here we are, for example, in intermediate 10 plus or somewhere we do some lab activities, and that calculation will be verified by the lab teacher, and if we done any mistake, and that will be correct and verified by the lab teacher, then only we get the practical knowledge. So that's about the realism teacher objective. A teacher should be educated and well versed with the customs and beliefs and rights and duties of people and the friends. It must be respect the society. That means it must have full mastery of the knowledge of the present life. It has to develop skills according to the day-to-day technology. It must able to expose and guide the student toward the art realities of life. It must be expose the life into reality. It must be guide the students. Coming to the naturalism, what is mean by naturalism? Naturalism concept is that family believes that ultimate reality lies in the nature of the matter. Nature of the naturalism is a concept of family believes that ultimate reality lies in nature of the matter. Ultimate reality lies in where? Nature of matter. A belief that the laws of nature are govern life, and that individual goals are more important than social societal goals. Matter is considered to be supreme, and mind is the functioning of the brain that is made up of matter. The whole universe is governed by laws of nature, and they are changeable. Democratics. So democratics criticism. Democratis is introduced to this method. Nationalism is the concept of family belief that ultimate reality lies in nature of the matter, a belief that the laws of nature govern life and the individual goals of the societal matter is considered to be supreme, and mind is a function of the brain that is made up of matter. These are the some of the concepts related to the naturalism. Here I would like to give the second point again. A belief that laws of nature govern life, and that individual goals are more important than societal goals. You can remember here, individual goals are more important than society. First, as a person, you need to go for your goals, then you develop your society. Nation based on metaphysics. The worldview, a worldview which holds that there is nothing but natural elements, principles, and relations of the kind studied by the natural sciences, deals with the existence, rejects the supernatural concept and explanation. This is about the metaphysics. It is naturalism based on metaphysics, a worldview which holds there is which holds that there is nothing but natural elements, principles, and relations of the kind studied by the natural sciences. This is the existence aims of the natural education. The aim of education is to be develop the child emotionally and morally according to the child's need. Education aims at the inner faculties, capacities, and powers of the child. Aims of education is not preparation for life, but participation in life. Each stage through which a child passes as a specific aim of education. So these are the aims of education. That means what? Develop a child in emotionally, morally, according needs of the child, education and powers of the child, inner faculties, capacities, and we should be realize the powers of the we need to thought is powers and capabilities, and we should education not a preparation, it is a participation in life. Then naturalism teacher, those who are practicing naturalism, and that teacher object is he is an observer able to understand nature of the child. Stage sector should focus on and encourage the child learning through doing methods of teaching. So these are the objectives of the natural teacher. That means observer able to understand nature of the child. Stage sector should focus on and encourage the child learning through doing methods of learning. Coming to the pragmatism. Pragmatism is the philosophical tradition that began in the United States around 1870. This method is began in the US in 1870. According to the James, the term pragmatism is derived from the Greek word pragma, which means action, practice, or activity, from which in the word practice and practical have been derived. According to James, the term pragmatism is derived from the Greek word pragma, which means actions of practice or activity, from which in the words practice and practicals have been derived. Charles Peirce introduced this method. So here pragmatism is Charles Peirce. It suggests an emphasis upon the practicalities of life and practicable in the real. It is an American philosophy typical in nature and practical in approach. So this is the pragmatism. It was introduced in 1870 in the US, and the father of this pragmatism is Charlie Peirce. Pragmatism aims of education. The aim of education is more education, harmonious development of individual, continuous reconstruction of experience, social efficiency, continuous growth, personal social adjustment. The aim of education is more education, harmonious development of individual, continuous reconstruction of experience, social efficiency, continuous growth, personal and social adjustment. Pragmatism and method of teaching. So now these are about the aims. Now method of teaching is what? Does not believe in a fixed method of teaching, not it try various method, not depends in with the only fixed method. Their emphasis is on child is activities, integration and experimentation. So the methods are changing and they try new methods day by day. Gives importance to child than books or teacher. Not giving the priority to the books and teacher is giving importance to the only child. Avoids outdated and rigid methods of learning. So not using old method. Learning by doing, project method, discussion, etc. So here it is learning methods. Old methods are avoiding, upgrading day by day. So here pragmatism favors social ideas. And finally, last Western philosophy is Postmodernism. Postmodernism is a late 20th century movement in the philosophy and literary theory that generally questions the basic assumptions of Western philosophy in modern period around 17th century to 19th century. So here it is a postmodernism is a late 20th century movement in philosophy and literary theory that generally questioned the basic assumptions of Western philosophy during 17th and 19th century. Postmodern philosophy is characterized by broad skepticism or relativism and a general specification of reason. It also broadly asserts that Western intellectual and cultural norms and values are a product are in some sense influenced by the ideology of dominant or elite groups that at least indirectly serve their interest. What is the curriculum of the postmodernism? Critical literacy, suffering injustice, cultural politics, challenge unequal power, hidden curriculum. These are the postmodernism. Postmodernism teaching is what? The method is postmodern modern educator focus on individual differences in learning rather than uniformity of thought, knowledge, practice, or curriculum. It's only focus on individuality. The identify and respond to student with they identify and respond to student with different learning styles, recognizing and the difference in how each student learns has brought special education. The view of gifted and handicapped student, which was rather negative in terms of similarity and unity in modern, has greatly changed. In the postmodern era, those students are supported much more with a better treatment than modern era, which so here this is postmodern educator focus on individual difference in learning rather than uniformity of the thought, knowledge, practice, and curriculum. They identify and respond to students with a different learning style, recognizing the difference how each student learns has brought special education. These are the things related to the Western philosophy of education.